Well, hello and welcome back to my channel. It's Jen, and if you have been stuck under something heavy during this difficult crisis, number one, make sure you get someone to help you. And number two, I have been putting up videos every day, either here on my main channel or over on my other channel, Joyful Living. And what I am attempting to do is just kind of give us a little bit of a break, a little bit of a time where we pretend that there is nothing at all wrong in the world and we're just spending a few minutes with a friend in her basement who is in pearls talking about Disney things. And there's nothing weird about that, right? Right? Okay, so where are we now in our social isolating? I think we're on day 10, I'm not sure. But what I do know is we all need a break, and so today we are going to do part 2 of my Let's Plan a Disney Trip series. Now, if you haven't already gone and watched part 1, go ahead and pause this video right now and go ahead and watch it, because it's important that you watch that video first. I mean, it's not really. You're probably pretty intelligent, so you probably could figure it out. But in part 1, I discussed where I am staying for this fantasy birthday trip that may or may not happen for my 50th birthday, which is happening no matter what happens on July 17th. So we chose our resort, no spoilers in case you didn't watch it yet, and now we need to move on to more important things about the trip. Now, my hope is, and this is what you did for the first video, you are planning along with me. You have pen and paper out. You have already chosen your dates. You have already chosen your fabulous resort. And as every good planner knows, or if you're new to Disney planning, you soon will know, our next step is to pick our dining. Now, I'm going to do the dining video in 2 parts, and here's why. I wanted to really focus first on where do I want to eat for my big birthday dinner. I'm hoping to have additional friends and family there for this trip. So far, the only person I've gotten to commit is my husband. And by the way, I did get him to commit. I think a lot of it was the stress he knows I'm under, and he felt like that would make me feel better. So at this point, I think I could probably get him to agree to anything. But Scott Lefforge has committed to going to Walt Disney World with me in the summer to stay at Disney's. Oh, I almost gave it away. You have to go and check the other video. I'll probably end up giving it away by accident anyway, but I'm gonna try not to. So, my birthday dinner. Having the ideal restaurant for your birthday dinner is an important part of the birthday celebration. It may be one of the most important parts, second only in our fantasy vacation to where we were going to stay. So I started thinking through the contenders. Where are the various restaurants in Walt Disney World that I would consider to be restaurants that would be worthy of my 50th birthday? So let's go over the list together, okay? Number 1, the Brown Derby. Now, the Brown Derby is located at Disney's Hollywood Studios. It is one of my favorite restaurants on Walt Disney World property, and in fact, is where I spent my 49th birthday last year. So I know they do a good job with birthdays. I love the ambiance here. I love the atmosphere here. We've always had great service. They have an extensive wine list. It is a perfect place to celebrate a special occasion. So Brown Derby definitely made the list. Next up, I have Victoria and Albert. And for some of you, you're like, this is a fantasy trip. Of course you should go to Victoria and Albert, except for here, or is it Victoria and Albert's? I guess it would be Victoria and Albert's. Here's the reason I am not choosing that. As a pescatarian, which by the way is a vegetarian who eats fish, fancy dining does not always work for me. I don't always see things that I love on the menu. I have no doubt Victoria and Albert's would do a beautiful job for me. It's just almost too fancy for us. And for the money that you pay to eat there, Scott and I both love food, but I wouldn't really consider us foodies. And I'm just not sure we would appreciate the experience for the price that we would be paying, if that makes sense. So Victoria and Albert's, I'm still putting it on the list, but I'm not as sure that that's going to make the cut. Remember, this is a fantasy. The next restaurant that is on the list, I haven't even eaten at yet, but a lot of you have, and I'm hearing amazing things, and that is Topolino's, which is at the top of Disney's Riviera Resort. Now, I love the theming here. The French Riviera theme fits beautifully with my personality. I think we would get a lot of great birthday photographs if we did this destination dining opportunity, and it really does seem like a lovely place to dine. So Topolino's is on our list. Next up, Toledo. Now, it's not pronounced Toledo. I learned that the hard way. It's pronounced Toledo, and I ate at Toledo with my great friend Shane and his husband Bob and my friend Coral, and that was a few months back, and they had actually just opened it, and we had a fabulous experience. This meal was top-notch from beginning to end. The views from up there are amazing. Toledo would be a fantastic place to have a lot of friends join us, and I think they even have like a back dining room there that you can reserve, so Toledo's definitely is making the list. Next up, we have Flying Fish, which I have eaten at many times over the years. Again, because I'm a pescatarian, that's a great choice for me because I'm not just going to have one fish option to choose from, right? I'm going to have a lot of different options. So I also love the location of Flying Fish because you could combine it with like an evening stroll around Epcot. You could maybe eat at Flying Fish and then stroll around Epcot, have dessert, and watch illuminations. And that just kind of screams 50th birthday, doesn't it? Again, it would allow for friends who might be at Walt Disney World to join in on the celebration. And even if they couldn't meet us for dinner, they could stroll Epcot with us and, sing me happy birthday. It could be fun. I don't know. This next choice is probably a no for me, kind of like how I put Victoria and Albert's on the list, but it's probably a no for me. And that is Cinderella's Royal Table. And I know, how can you have anything more iconically happy 50th birthday than Cinderella's Royal Table? Cinderella is there and they now have alcohol there. So it's in the castle. It's got a lot of great stuff going for it. I'm just not sure it has enough of a dress-up feel for me because even though obviously it's very fancy, Cinderella wears a ball gown there like every day. You're going to have a kid in a tank top and sticky sitting next to you. And although normally I don't mind that, I just would like maybe a little more grown-up atmosphere for my 50th birthday. So from those on the list, which would you choose? Now there's one that isn't on the list that's actually the one that I am leaning towards. And in order for us to make a really solid decision about the one that I'm leaning towards, I have the menu for that restaurant sitting on my lap, and we're going to read it together. So right now is when I'm going to tell you that if you haven't already eaten, you may want to go eat now or have food readily available because reading this menu may cause extreme hunger. And I don't know how you're doing with your quarantine snacks, but I've been through a lot of Doritos. I need to stop eating Doritos. I probably should stop buying Doritos. Doritos and Klondike bars and wine. Doritos, Klondike bars, and wine, and frozen sweet potato French fries that you cook in the oven. Doritos, wine, cupcakes, potatoes, sweet potato fries, takeout pizza, baked ziti. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot you guys were here for a minute. Where was I? Okay. So this last place that I have eaten maybe 3 times, not a lot, but that I absolutely love is, you may be saying it along with me, California Grill. Now, the California Grill is on the top floor of the Contemporary. You really could not go wrong with atmosphere here or with kind of the dress up idea. Now, although people still could show up in, nicer shorts, I think guys do have to have collared shirts here, no ripped or torn clothing. So it does have that signature dining atmosphere that I'm after. So if California Grill is top on our list, I think we better read the menu. Oh, the other thing California Grill has going for it is even if people didn't want to join us for my actual birthday dinner, we could all meet at the Top of the World Lounge. Well, those of us that are DVC members, but the bar up there, we could meet at the bar up there too, and we could all enjoy a drink. And then, maybe not everybody wants to have the full dinner with us, but it does enable us to kind of have a party. And then we could all maybe watch the fireworks from somewhere in that area, maybe go over to the Poly Beach. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here, but there's potential with California Grill to turn this thing into a real celebration, and again enables me to include a lot of friends and family even if they don't want to come to the main meal with us. So here we go. Are you ready? Now, I know you're thinking, Jen, you know Disney may not even be open again by your birthday. I think it will. And you know what? We're going to go ahead and walk forth in faith. And we're going to assume that California Grill is going to be back up and running and that all of its employees will have gotten through this difficult time and will be back up there serving sushi and pouring Prosecco and being the delightful human beings they have been this entire time. Okay, we're ready? So you got to start with the sushi. And the sushi at California Grill is excellent. I am a sushi eater. You may not be a sushi eater. That's okay. But our options are the sunburnt roll, the sashimi, the plant-based forbidden roll, the California combination roll, and the spicy Kazan roll. Now, I have not had the sunburnt roll, but it sounds really good. It's spicy jumbo lump crab, charred verlasso salmon, lemon, jicama, mango, and zesty yuzu sauce. So I don't like overly spicy, but zesty usually works for me. It's zesty. It's a sunburnt roll with zesty sauce. So I'm probably going to order that. And if you're there with me, then you can share in my sunburnt roll. That sounds really, really good. Let's move on to soups, salads, and appetizers. Now, I need to say here that if you're planning along with me, it's extremely important that you get down to the nitty-gritty detail. The fantasy planning will not do what you want it to do unless you are planning every specified detail, and spreadsheets help. Just saying. All right, let's move on to our appetizers. We have the option of the beer and cheese soup, which I don't think is, it might be vegetarian. The hearts of romaine, the Sonoma goat cheese ravioli, the braised beef short rib wontons, no. The selection of farmhouse and artisanal cheeses. Artisanal? Artisanal. I'm not sure when artisanal cheese is not appropriate, so that's something we definitely need to consider. Handcrafted charcuterie. Now, I am a well-refined lady who is wearing her pearls, so I know how to pronounce charcuterie, and I'm very proud of it. You know what else I know how to pronounce? Macaron, which is not a macaroon. And I always like to stop whenever I can and educate. A macaroon is chocolate and coconut. A macaron is meringue and usually some sort of jelly filling. Thank you. Pear salad, which is pear, butter, Humboldt fog. What is a Humboldt fog? One wants to know. No idea. Poached cranberries, walnut granola, and pear vejoux vinaigrette. Mwah! And then, of course, we have the oven-roasted octopus, which is purple potatoes, romesco verde, chorizo olive tapenade, and squid ink vinaigrette. Squid ink. They have squid ink on the menu. I'm going to pass on the squid ink, but I am probably going to go ahead and go with the artisanal cheeses, and just to kind of round it out, because remember, when you're fancy dining and it's your birthday, you can order multiple things and just take a bite of each, like a girl on a date. So I might get the hearts of romaine, except for it has a miso honey bacon, but they might be able to alter that for me because that actually sounds really good too. I like to have a nice salad when I'm having a long, drawn-out meal. I don't know why, I just really do. Let's move on to our entrees. Now I'm going to read all of the entrees, even the ones that are made from things I do not eat. The oak-fired filet of beef, the jumbo scallops, the grilled Colorado bison loin, the grilled pork tenderloin, the plant-based unplugged, which just says selection of 4 plant-based small plates, the Aura King salmon, the poulet rouge chicken, the wild boar ragu, and the surf and turf roll. Now, I am leaning towards, for the purposes of today, the Aura King salmon, which is sunchoke confit, purple cauliflower puree, Florida citrus, Marcona almond golden raisin vinaigrette. That sounds like our winner. I'm going to go with the Aura King salmon, but I would be asking my server about the plant-based unplugged, because sometimes at Disney restaurants, the main vegetarian dish, especially at a place like California Grill, they have like outdone themselves, and you really want to find that out and ask that question. Typically, and this is a great tip, I will ask if any of the servers are vegetarians and what they think of that dish, and there usually always is at least one person that's a vegetarian that will be like, oh my gosh, you have to get this, or maybe don't. So that's a good pro tip. All right, so do you know what you want for dinner? Have you written it down? No. Have you written it down? Thanks. Let's move on to dessert. So we've had our sushi, we've had our appetizer and our salad, we've had our entree, and now we're moving on to dessert. Now, the dessert choices are lovely. I have an expectation of some sort of cake or cupcake with a candle. This should be included. This does not mean that this will be my only dessert for the evening, and I don't think it should be your only dessert for the evening either. So let's read through the desserts, shall we? Okay, let's. A selection of farmhouse and artisanal cheeses. Who the heck is getting that for dessert? That is not dessert. I think if you're French, that's what they do for dessert. That is not what girlfriend's doing for dessert. Strawberry creme brulee, which is, I'm going to read all the descriptions for all of the desserts. Okay. Vanilla bean creme brulee, fresh local strawberries, cornflake crunch, coconut whip, and sponge cake. I don't really like coconut, so I'd have to ask about that. Warm Valrhona chocolate cake, Valrhona. Valrhona, okay. Vanilla bean ice cream, milk chocolate whipped panna cotta, and pretzel crunch. I do love some panna cotta. Okay, sorry. And then rice pudding, which is warm corn anglaise, pear compote, house-made cornflakes, and walnut financier. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Cheesecake, no sugar added dessert. Apricot sorbet, black tea infused apricot compote, pistachio powder, and apple tart tautine. Tautine? Maybe not. Applejack brandy roasted Granny Smith apples, cinnamon streusel, and gooey butter cake ice cream. Let's all pause and think of gooey butter cake ice cream. All of those words, gooey, butter, cake, and ice cream, I am on board with. Okay, so I'm going to tell you, this is going to be conflicting for me. So this is what I'm going to do. And this is what I typically do at fancy restaurants. I say to my server, let's say her name is Victoria or Diane or Amy. Our server is named Amy in this scenario, and I say to Amy, Amy, you've been such a lovely server, and I have so much faith in your opinion. It's my birthday. Would you please pick 3 of these desserts and bring all 3? Now you're thinking, Jennifer, that is wildly indulgent. Yes, I know. It's my birthday. I'm 50, so we're going to eat a lot of dessert. Might I only eat 1 bite of each dessert? Yes. Yes, I might. And that is a-okay. So that is pretty much what I'm going to do with our California grill menu. Now, I'm going to write down exactly what I'm going to eat, just as we have gone over today. I will be putting that in my phone or somewhere. I may vary because sometimes they have specials and I'm a planner, but I'm not insane. I can choose things and I can change my mind, but the choosing of the things is what's going to get you through today, no matter what it is that might be challenging you, because this is a difficult time and we all get to get through it however we want. And apparently I get through it by putting on full hair and makeup and coming down in my basement and talking to you guys. So thank you for being such a lovely audience. I hope you're being very good to each other today. Hang in there, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.